Hey, what's going on, everybody? I have to do this because it's bothering me that I keep hearing critical race theory, and you have everybody talking about it. But not everybody is going to the definition. And so I just want to start off by, for those who say, I keep hearing about it, but no matter what side you're on, you don't know what it really is. So let's talk about that. What's going on, Ari? I hope all is blessed with you. I got to get this off my chest. And feel free, anyone, if you have an opinion, to let me know what your opinion is. But let's just talk about the critical race theory, because I think it's a game that politicians are using to play the people against themselves. And we know they are great at that. That is the whole purpose of politicians. They got you fighting so they can go past their earmarks. Hey, but I thank God earmarks are back. And you just really don't know what's going on. So I'm gonna play an audio from the lady who created it, the legal term of it, and then we're gonna quickly fast forward and go into is it in the school? Because people are worried that this thing is being taught to the students. Definitely intelligence and free thinking area. I have no dog in this fight. I pulled my kids out of school. They have their own teacher. So what's being taught, what's not being taught, what I can tell you is I was the black dot in many of the schools I was going to before I went to Grambling, the Harvard of the South. And I can tell you what my thoughts on how they teach history, because I think it's totally just needs a reformed. And let's talk about this, but I want to play what this lady says critical race theory is, because you guys are fighting each other, and really you need to be fighting these politicians, or maybe fighting for an office. So let's get this off my chest. I don't do this stuff, but let me explain.
Critical race theory is not so much a thing. It's a way of looking at a thing. It's a way of looking at race. It's a way of looking at why, after so many decades, centuries actually, since the emancipation, we have patterns of inequality that are enduring. They are stubborn. And the point of critical race theory originally was to think and talk about how law contributed to the subordinate status of African Americans, of indigenous people, and of an entire group.
Okay, you heard what it is in its original form. Now it's like this virus, it's morphed. This is Kimberly Crenshaw, and if you go to, I think it's MSNBC did the interview with her, you can go check that out. So she is the legal expert who created the term, Eddie. I see what you're saying. Now she's going to answer the question, is it being taught in the American school system? Because what people are really fighting for is not what she created. So we're going to go into that. And I just want to know, you guys, and Ari, I am going to preach. Thank you. Because if we don't do it, we are going to be the ones who have to, whatever they create in Washington, we're going to have to clean it up, or we're going to have to pay for it. It's just not this brainwashing, white versus black, green versus blue, red versus blue. We have to stop this nonsense. These politicians worldwide, Eddie, even in Kenya, these politicians play a game with us all. Rich versus poor, and we got to stop this. So you're going to hear her answer if critical race theory is in the school system. I hope you're ready. Even if you don't catch this live, I hope you catch it so you can know the side you really need to pick is the middle. That's the side you really need to pick. And you really need to wake up and stop listening even to the media, because they're biased. They're getting their corporate ad dollars that just keep going up, and you keep listening to these people who really don't know or don't have your best interest in hand. They know what they're doing, but we're going to give the game, and that's what I do. Man, here we go. I want you to listen to Miss Kimberly Crenshaw when she's going to be asked what is it being taught in the school system?
A K through 12 curriculum that right now is being taught. I'm sorry, I know it's a dumb question, but is there a K through 12 curriculum on critical race theory that's being taught in schools around this country?
Well, look, Joy, if it was news to most Americans that critical race theory was in K through 12, it was news to me too. I'm one of the co-authors of one of the few books on critical race theory. I think I would know if we were being taught in K through 12. I mean, basically, critical race theory, classic critical race theory, is a law school course, and it's really, not taught as widely as I would hope it would. Yeah. But here's the deal. This is not about whether anything called critical race theory.
Okay, let's stop there, and you can watch the whole thing. She said, unless you're in law school, this isn't even a course for you to take. This is not a course for you to take. This is nothing you can take, and most people aren't going to law school. I know Ariel was on here. He went to law school, passed, got his JD, but most people don't even finish AA degree. And right now, you have to ask yourself, what is a bachelor's and what is a master's and a PhD worth? I even know some lawyers who make under $50,000. And it's possibly because they have other interests. But if critical race theory is not a course that's being taught, why do we keep hearing the media going back and forth? Because we're tuning in. I don't tune in. I don't have cable. But I keep hearing about it. I'm sitting on, different conversations, people arguing, different, groups, people arguing about what is and what's not being taught. This is the truth of the matter. America, for all of its greatness, has a lot of negative, like every other country. And it just happens that America enslaved and brought people here, and they never paid any form of reparations. Therefore, their hands aren't clean. They never did anything special for that population, just for that population, like they've done with the LGBTQ, like they've recently done with the Asians, like they've done with the Native Americans, like they've done with, you can go on and on, Japanese, this, that. They haven't done anything specifically. And you can't say people of color because you're not going to have clean hands. See, I'm a PR guy and a consultant. So if I was doing PR for America, I would say, look, we're going to give this, and everyone's not going to agree. But right now, this is the best that we have. And if we can't give money, we're going to give education, we're going to give land, we're going to be tax-free. We're going to do something that we can snap our fingers, write on a pen and a pad and do. But since America didn't do that, you have people playing catch-up in the race. And when you're playing catch-up in the race and you get there, everyone's not going to get there. So, critical race theory is a term to scare white people to say your children are being taught that they should feel guilty about slavery, Jim Crow, and a whole bunch of other things that have happened, But the problem is they've been teaching that in the school system if you went through school here. And even in Africa, they've been teaching colonialism. They've been teaching this. But now that the Republicans, mainly, but Republicans and Democrats, it ain't too much difference. That's why I'm a total independent. Because they sit, you guys, in rooms, in think tanks. They sit in rooms sipping wine after the day on your dime, and they come up with these things. And they know that people are so simple. Most people are sheeple. Most people will believe whatever a CNN or a Fox or whoever they like to listen to, they'll believe it. So they can use these terms, they call them wedge issues. They're here to wedge that division. Get it? So when you take a side of one side or the other side and you think, oh man, this is right because so-and-so said it. No! These are politicians, and I haven't met any good ones, to be honest with you. I've met some all right ones, but to play that game, you have to play a different type of game, and it's a different type of mind game. I just read John Boehner's book, and he talked about Bernie Sanders really believes everything he says, and that's rare for a politician. If you go read in between that, he's even talking about himself. Because to be a politician, he talks about in the book, you got to play a game. You got to play a dance. So critical race theory, next time someone takes one side or the other and says, yeah, they should teach that. First of all, I felt that in my history, a reason I took my children out of public school and they hired my own teacher is because as a black person, especially a black male, all you hear about black history is we were slaves. That's where it starts off with. We were brought over here from slavery. That's why when so many of us go to Africa, Eddie, and I see you over there, Glory, that's why when we come over there, we are so brainwashed and we don't even know what Africa has for us or how to tap in. So this critical race theory, this wedge issue, don't be a part of this, because education does need to change. They've been teaching the same thing for over 40 years. What I was taught, my parents were taught, and what their grandparents were taught. And Obama tried to, so he says, tried to make a change, and he wasn't able to play the game to where he could make a change, or maybe he lost interest, maybe there were other things. There's 100 things. But he tried to change the way education is done. And the people did not support him all the way on either side to say, yes, education needs to change. What we're learning in school, from here to Cameroon to Kenya, people are getting PhDs and having to work at Starbucks, having to drive Lyft and Uber. The system is broken. The system is broken, and it needs to be changed. But as parents, we have to be the one to say, our kids aren't going through that brainwashing. Our kids aren't going through the school system that's meant for you to be a worker, not an entrepreneur. I don't want my kids to ever have to fill out a job application unless they want to. There's a particular job. Maybe they want to be a surgeon or something, and they want that job, or they want to, do something that they have to fill out that application. But even with that, I'd rather them create their own business, create their own organization, be on their own terms. This critical race theory, y'all fighting over this. Don't fight over this, because in D.C., after 5, they're laughing at this. Having a good time, drinking wine on your dime, eating on your dime. I know that, not because of what I heard, what I saw, what I did, because I was broke while I was a intern on the Hill. So I don't want you guys to get caught up in this critical race theory. Oh, I got to worry about this. I got to pick this side, because what they are trying to do too, and they tried to do it in Texas some years ago, is instead of saying slavery, I think it was Texas Instruments, instead of saying slavery, they were trying to say migrants or immigrants or something. That in itself, that had a big fuss, but this is nonsense. Now, I don't know if anybody watching wants to chime in on this. It's a sensitive issue. You can, lose friends on this issue. I'm not worried about that, because you guys know I may say something to offend you, but it's the truth. I'm not making up lies. I have facts to back it up, or I've experienced it myself. But anybody watching want to chime in, you let me know. But critical race theory is a law school term. There was no curriculum. You heard it from Kimberly Crenshaw. You can go see it for yourself, do the research for yourself. There was none of that. There was nothing being taught to kids that has not been taught. Now, this white guilt that people say they're feeling, this might just be the chickens coming home to roost. This might just be people seeing enough racism to say, you know what, this is making me feel bad as the majority right now in this country, and I'm feeling bad about the things. And you should feel bad, but I don't want you just to feel bad. I want you to do something. I want you to join something. I want you not just to give money to something, but be a part of it and put that sweat equity that you put into your business. Because just putting money into something like Black Lives Matter, that's nonsense in itself. I mean, the term sounds cool, sounds good. I'm glad y'all have the flags on your porch. I don't have one on mine, because Black Lives Matter has not given a dime to anybody that I know, and I have too much sweat equity and clients in this space. They haven't offered one cobble to any black media. They haven't offered one cobble to any black media. And when we ran off who they have given money to, a lot of it was the LGBTQ. Now, I thought Black Lives Matter was Black Lives Matter and not LGBTQ Lives Matter. See, you can't trick us. That's the thing. And we have free media and a voice where we can speak. If they wanted to give the LGBT that money, they should have gave it under LGBT Lives Matter. But Black Lives Matter has a lot of LGBT. Many black folk that I know, the majority, are more conservative and believe in the traditional family. So it's not going to where you think it's going. It's not going to build a black school, a black hospital, or anything black that we have seen and people that we know. That is my rant on critical race theory. I hope you guys aren't fighting over somebody else's fight, that they're going to send their kids to college, they're going to eat real well. That ain't your fight. Okay? I don't care if you're white, black, blue, green, whatever you are, yellow. I don't want you to fight that fight at these town hall meetings. Let them fight that fight, even if you're white. Critical race theory ain't coming. You know the school system isn't doing, you can tell by your kids the school system isn't doing what it's supposed to. You can look at the AP classes and see how few people are in those. And you can see that the school system is not doing what they're supposed to. Because the school system is meant to, it's meant to be, you have your majority are going to pass. And then they know there's going to be some at the bottom, but most people are going to be in the middle. But since you don't have straight A students in the majority, why are we not doing something to say, let's teach what we're teaching right now differently so we can pull more kids up? Because the IP classes, the special education, those are increasing more and more. And they're trying to blame the cell phones. They're trying to blame this and that. There may be there's some good research out there to say why, with the cell phones and kids' attention span. But then why don't we change? Because why are we teaching the same thing? If the kid is addicted to the phone, put the education on the dang phone, on the dang computer, and let that be the only thing they can do, and watch how they either sink or swim. And if that works, cool. We got something new we've created. And there are some great teachers who have tried things and they've been fired. I know because I've been told what I can't do while teaching. See, they can trick a lot of you because you haven't had certain experiences. But because I've had many experiences and I've been fired from many experiences or asked to go, or we'd rather pay you to leave because we don't want change, this is the problem. And stop listening to people. If you want to listen to people how to get money, listen to people who have money. You want to listen to people who how to get married, listen to people who are married. Not people who are single and have various divorces and they don't have anybody for themselves. Y'all are listening to people who haven't practiced what they're teaching. But I'm going to stick on the critical race theory. Because some of y'all, too much money would drive you crazy. And maybe a spouse, you're not meant to be a spouse because you're not meant to be a friend. And that's where I'll end with that. You guys, do the research yourself. Go look at the definition of critical race theory. I thank y'all for your time. Make sure you share this so somebody can be blessed by the message and they won't get caught up in this nonsense of an argument, because this is nonsense. If you're going to change the curriculum, change it. But don't change it because you want to make one person fight with the other person and make it seem like it's an issue in America. We got enough issues with this pandemic. You guys, if nothing else, put on your mask. It costs you absolutely nothing. It might save someone else's life, but it might save your own.